Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of SoTellUs Time. We're excited to be back with you guys. Last week we actually didn't have an episode, and that's because it was Memorial Day. Memorial Day weekend. We both went away. We had a great time with our families. Hopefully you guys did too. You have earned a break. And so we hope you guys had some really fun times, maybe got in the pool, did a barbecue, went somewhere, or even got some awesome Memorial Day sales. If you did, tell us about it. We'd love to hear what you guys did last week. We're really excited though to be back with you guys this week and back to working. Today we're going to be talking about perception versus reality. So perception versus reality. The thing is, in business, perception is not always what reality is. The perceived value that someone is getting as a consumer is not always what the reality is of that. And I've got a story I'm excited about today because it's something that personally happened to me. And it was funny when Troy and I sat down and talked about it, because we chit chat throughout the day. And when we talked about it, I realized, I'm like, man, it was really more about perception than it was about the reality of the situation.
Yes.
So today we're going to be talking about two pest control companies. So I had this pest control company that I had hired to come out because we were starting to get cockroaches and in the backyard, not the house. Never have we had them in the house, but they were in the backyard. And if you know my wife, she hates cockroaches. She would rather have scorpions. She's like, I would rather fight scorpions than have cockroaches coming and running around. And I said, why? Why in the world would you rather have scorpions than cockroaches? And she's like, oh, they're just disgusting. They're so gross. I'm not afraid of a scorpion, but cockroaches are just nasty. She sees them, they scream. The funny thing is, the ones that are coming in our backyard, they're like flying cockroaches. So they freak her out. They come flying by and she's like, oh my gosh. And she's freaking out. So she jumps all over me. Get out there and power wash everything. The kids are spilling popsicles and when they're going swimming and stuff and it's attracting cockroaches. And so I'm out there power washing every week and everything. And I'm like, I am so sick of this. I'm hiring pest control. So I hire this pest control company and we'll call them Pest Control Company A. So Pest Control Company A is the first company I hire. House. And I kind of noticed, I felt like, well, I'm not really seeing them though. Like I get these invoices on my door, but I don't really see the guy. Are they really spraying? What are they doing? So I'm checking the cameras around my house and I notice, I'm like, man, this guy's only here 5 to 7 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes every month, once a month. And I'm going, what can he really accomplish in 5 to 7 minutes? And so I start looking at the cameras and watching and I'm just like, I am not really satisfied with this. I'm walking down the side of my house and I'm like, oh, what is this? Spider webs? I'm walking through spider webs and I'm like, what the heck? I thought I paid these guys to take care of all this for me. So I talked to them. I call the company up and I kind of am like, hey, listen, I would like them to do a little bit better job. I'd like them to spray. We're having cockroaches. We're having spiders. This is why I hired you guys. So I'd like for you guys to do, a little bit better job, spend a little more time at my house. And the lady's like, okay, of course, we'll talk to him. So the next time he comes out, I stay home, I pay attention. Again, he comes and he just sprays just the entrances to the house. And then he walks around with his little foofy thing and he grabs a couple spider webs. And then all of a sudden I hear this faint knock and I go to the door to get the thing because I was going to tell him like, hey, look, I want to open the garages up and I want you to spray in my garages. And he's gone. The truck's gone, everything. And I'm like, what the heck? So a couple of months of this happens to the same situation. And I'm like, how this dude's like running away. And so I'm like, this is terrible. I end up firing them. Okay. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. Why am I paying for this? Oh, and really quick too, an important piece of information with this is the equipment that they were using. So I wanted to pay attention to the kind of equipment because I've seen all sorts of different equipment out there. This guy gets out with a backpack sprayer on and I'm like, well, I have one of those backpack sprayers for the weeds in my yard. I'm like, that's like $15 at Harbor Freight. And I'm kind of like, that's a little chintzy, but I'm like, okay, well maybe they're just getting started. But the funny thing is they're not. This is a big company. And I was pretty shocked when I did more research on them that this is the way they were doing it. Now, this unfortunately reflects upon the company. It could just falter to a bad employee, not doing a good job. So I want to make it very clear. We're not saying that like backpack sprayers make you a bad company,
right,
or anything like that. We're just giving you a comparison of A and B, company A and B. So I fire them. I hire company B. They show up and this guy's got a truck mounted sprayer system. He's got this big old long hose and he walks around my house. And first off, he knocks on the door and he says, okay, really quick, Mr. Howard, today I'd like to go over what are the problems that you're having. I said, well, we get a lot of spider webs and we've got these flying cockroaches, these cockroaches. And my wife's freaking out. She'd rather, I'm about to import scorpions to my house to kill the cockroaches, because she's freaking out about this. She'd rather have scorpions. Yeah. And he's like, oh my gosh, we can take care of that. Don't worry, Mr. Howard. So he takes this big old hose that's connected to his truck with this big old sprayer, and he goes around and he proceeds to spray my entire fence, like up and down, sprays the whole dang fence. Then he goes around and he like sprinkles this stuff all over the yard. Then he's even got like this little blower thing. He's like, psh, psh, and he's like blowing stuff. And I'm like, what is he even doing? And then he goes around with this little foofy thing and he's getting all these spider webs. And I'm like, wow, that was awesome. He stayed there about 15 minutes. And I was like, that was awesome. That was worth every penny I spent. Very similar price to company A. Company A and company B, very similar price. Now here is a difference. Company A comes once a month. Company B comes every other month. Unless you call. If you call and say, hey, I'm still having bugs or whatever, they'll actually come out and give you an additional spray in between that month at no charge, which I thought was really awesome. So company A spends about 5 to 7 minutes at my house, sprays entryways, does not communicate with me. Company B comes out, sprays all the fences, spends about 15 minutes, comes every other month, and knocks on my door at the end, hands me my invoice instead of like knocking and running, right? Like I feel like I'm being doorbell ditched by like 12-year-olds or something with the company A, and then asks me before he leaves, Mr. Howard, is there anything else I can do for you today? Would you like to have your garages sprayed or anything like that? So these are the two experiences I had. Troy, let's kind of break that down and talk about like, frequency, the service, some of the problems, maybe the equipment. Let's talk about what makes those situations different, because I think when you and I talked about it, the service was actually, or the equipment and the product and everything like that was actually pretty similar.
Right.
And they both companies were very capable of doing the job.
Yeah, exactly. The reality of it is that both companies could do the job correctly.
Yeah.
Right? That you don't have to have the truck mounted versus the backpack sprayer, right? Yeah. You can have a great company with either set of equipment.
Yep.
So both were very capable of doing it. They were just both taking different approaches.
Yeah.
But one approach had a lot more perceived value behind it than the other one does. So for example, if you take, company A, they're coming once a month, right? So you go, okay, awesome. They're there every single month.
Yep.
Versus company B is only coming every other month.
Right.
But the perceived value is company B says, hey, yeah, we're going to come every other month because that's really what you're going to need. But if you have any issues, we'll come on that off month and we'll provide service for free.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, free service.
That's awesome.
Right? But the other guy's coming every month too.
Right.
You know?
And let's talk about that. Why would company B do that? Perceived value, but why? Because of what?
Well, it's going to save them money, right?
Yeah.
They're going to save money by not having to send someone out every single month.
Exactly.
And if they do a really good job on those months, then they don't need to come out every single month.
My perceived value is that I can have them come every month, and one service will even be free. I just have to call and schedule it because I'm having bugs. But they know that they do such a good job at every other month that they are not going to have tons of people calling. Sure, will they get some? Yes, they'll get some people that call and utilize that, but the majority are not going to do that.
Yes, and so that's called slippage.
That's slippage. That's right. But it's a big perceived value to me.
Exactly. Whereas the other guy, he is guaranteeing that he's going to come every single month.
Yep.
Company A. But he's not portraying that as a value compared to his competitors. The other thing is the amount of time they spent. One spent about 5 to 7 minutes. The other one spent about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you add that together over the 2 months, it's very similar time frame.
Yep.
But the difference is, one, if somebody's in my backyard for 5 minutes, the odds are I'm not even going to notice that they were there. But if they're there for 15 minutes, I'm going to notice that they're there, especially if they're spraying something on my walls that I'm going to see. Or if they are spraying around the yard, I'm going to see it there versus just doing spot sprays.
Right.
Now, do they have to, do that and completely cover the walls to like get rid of the bugs? Probably not.
Probably not.
A spot spray probably works just as good.
Yep.
But which one looks better to the consumer?
Exactly.
So there you go. That's another thing I noticed.
Then perceived value, the amount of product that they're using.
Exactly. Even though you got to spread that over 2 months, right? Because they're not coming every month.
Exactly.
The other thing was communication was a big thing that I saw in there. Was one person was kind of avoiding the conversation with you, whereas the other one looked at as an opportunity to show them like, hey, I am here.
Yes.
Right? Do you need anything else? They're providing great customer service.
Yes.
You know, because again, a lot of times I've had pest control and it's like, did they even come? I don't know. But if they're knocking on my door every other month and saying, hey, here's your invoice. We just finished. Is there anything else you need? I know they came.
That's right.
Perceived value.
Yep.
I'm not assuming. I can't assume or in my mind say, I bet those dudes don't even come and do anything.
I bet they didn't even spray. I bet they didn't even spray, you know?
Exactly. So huge perceived value there. And then, of course, we talked about the equipment, right?
Yeah.
So the backpack versus the truck mounted system. Again, if you're a startup company, backpack is probably the way to go, and you can do an amazing job, but just give the perceived value to them, right?
And then that's the thing but that's where the truck mounted sprayer is impressive.
Yes.
And I have actually seen companies that only have 3 trucks and they have all truck mounted sprayers.
Yep.
And they look big and they look impressive and they have wrapped trucks. Whereas then you've got this other company that is a much larger company, actually.
Yes.
They have backpack sprayers and their guys are just showing up in these little unmarked vehicles.
Yep.
Sometimes it's a car, sometimes it's a van. So they're probably working out of their own vehicles, maybe. I don't know. And the company's just paying them, mileage or something like that. But I'm going, Kate, you're a much bigger company. You should really be branding and portraying yourself as that. And so that truck mounted sprayer, I'm sure obviously the cost is astronomical difference, right?
Yeah.
But what is the cost of doing business? And for me, what is the value, or what is it worth to you to keep a customer?
Yes.
Right? Because think about that. It's like I was very underwhelmed by the first company A. I was very overwhelmed and impressed by company B.
Yeah, exactly. And again, they definitely, company B did seem to be giving you more value, right?
Yeah.
But some of it was perceived value. So what you need to do is what we want everyone to do from they're listening to this right now is your homework is going to be look at your business and what perceived value can you give to your clients this week? Can you add into your marketing and to your processes? So for example, again, talking about the perception, company B, they look like a bigger company because they have their branded vehicles.
Yep.
Like I know exactly who you're talking about. I see their vehicles driving around. I don't know how many vehicles they have, but I feel like they have a ton. Yeah. Because they're all look exactly the same. Yep. Right? They probably don't have a ton. In fact, like you said, the one company A is actually way bigger than them.
They are bigger.
So there's that. They seemed to be more professional as they went around. They seemed to care about what you needed by communicating with you.
Exactly.
They made sure that you knew that they were there on site by knocking on the door and giving you the invoice. So is that something you can do with your business?
Yep.
Right? Even little things, like here's an example. For example, like maybe you're a residential cleaner.
Yeah.
And you just go through and you're cleaning somebody's house on a monthly basis. What if your, cleaners at the end, right before they leave, just say, hey, we just want to check in. We did everything that you asked us to do. Oh, by the way, we noticed that the lights over there were a little bit dusty. So we went ahead and just took care of that for you.
Yeah. Or even better, what if they just said, is there anything you can see that you need me to touch up before I go?
Yes.
That's just because that's what essentially the guy was doing is there anything else you need, Mr. Howard, today? And going on to the residential, our cleaners, it's funny, they bring these branded car fresheners.
Yep.
And they smell awesome. My wife loves them. And they leave like 4 of them every time they clean. So we've got enough cleaners. We actually get to stock them up. So every time one fades out of the car, we have like 2 or 3 sitting there ready to go. And they do every single time. And my wife literally is like, I love this. I love it. It's the simplest little thing. Perceived value though, right?
Yes.
It's a simple thing. And that gets into branding, and that gets into all these other things. But it's like, what can you look at in your business for homework today? What can you look at in your business and say, this is something that I can give someone to give them the perception of more value than my competitor.
Exactly.
So spending that little bit extra money on better equipment, or taking the time to talk to your client about why this is better than this, or this or this, or having that communication, having that commitment and consistency with the
Yes.
business. I mean, it's these little tiny things that you think, oh, nobody pays attention to that. We're consumers. You're a consumer. Yes, we do. We pay attention. I noticed the guy was wearing a backpack. I noticed the next guy had a truck mounted sprayer. I noticed the guy was there 5 to 7 minutes. I noticed this guy was there 15 minutes. And even though it equaled the same amount of time because it was every month versus every other month, I still believed that company B was giving me so much more energy and effort and value.
Yep.
So what can you do in your business this week to give more perceived value to your customers? That's what I want to do.
All right.
That's what I want you guys to do.
Get on it. Get your homework done.
Okay, guys, we will see you next week on another episode of SoTellUs Time.